Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're hearing me loud and clear. Welcome back to VP4TV. We're here for a round one match in this year's VP4 2023 Virtual World Snooker Championship between AussieMick, no doubt you'll have guessed where he's from, and Spectredawn from the UK, and it's a race to six. The first match I did last night was sort of impromptu. I wasn't expecting a match. It had been arranged quite sort of like 10 minutes prior to it starting, and that was a match between MC Clarkey and Coldest Pillow, and Matt was on a different level from Coldest Play. I think the highest break was about 59 or something like that. But Matt was just too strong, scored a lot heavier, and won out 6-0 in the end. Now there's a few questions to be asked this afternoon. First of all, this will be my first chance to see how Spectredawn is at snooker, and of course, with me being a tactical genius, the questions will be asked as far as the safety goes in snooker, because the safety side of snooker can very often force your opponent into doing something they don't want to do. Now the stronger players will be aware of that. We've seen where Spectredawn's frailties are in 9-ball, and that's picking good safeties. And he's going to be questioned about that a few times, no doubt, if he wins this match. I haven't seen AussieMick play, I haven't seen Spectredawn play, so I have no clue as to what the outcome is in this, and I'm pretty certain most of you don't either. So as for pot and balls, Spectredawn can do that. It's about the strategy side of it, in terms of whether he plays snooker like a pool player and just wants to pot everything, and whether he gives away too many chances to AussieMick. Now, it could work vice versa, because again, not knowing what level that either of them play at, we're going to have to watch and judge that in this first frame. I've got my camera fixed, my second camera in terms of the table position. I've managed to adjust that, so we should be good to go. So welcome to everybody that I've missed in the chat. I didn't think I would get the start of this match because I thought I'd be working to 2 PM today, but we were quiet, so I got home early. And I managed to see a fair chunk of John Higgins giving Kyron Wilson a proper beating up this morning in the first session of their best of 25 frame second round match. And they play 3 sessions. The first 2 sessions are 8 frames, and the final session is 9. And John Higgins wiped the board with Kyron Wilson this morning, 8 frames to 0. And that's a severe alert check on all our phones that came through. You can hear my phone going at the moment. I heard that mentioned on the radio today. UK government service that will warn you. Let me just read my phone. It says UK government service that will warn you if there's a life-threatening emergency nearby. In a real emergency, follow the instructions in the alert to keep yourself and others safe. So this is an alert that's sent to everybody in the UK who has a phone. So everybody that has a phone will have had the same alert that I've had. I think I heard that on Sunday Love Songs with Steve Wright this morning when I was coming home in the car. And he said there's going to be an alert at 3 PM today, and lo and behold, I've just had it. So you just press the OK button and it disappears. The room has just gone up. AussieMick did arrive, so I presume he is there. The cloth, of course, is at the right colour for snooker. AussieMick is in. Spectredawn will probably hang around before he arrives. Now, AussieMick is a 1769 player. So, again, I don't think he plays. I'm assuming he doesn't play an awful lot online. I've got, again, because if he's actually in Australia, it's going to be at awkward times. So that's another reason why I'll never get to see him. So Well, he doesn't want to brake like that for a start. That's a semi-pro brake, so he can get another 147, isn't it, semi-pro? That's exactly the way you brake. Right, so AussieMick on the right hand side. We're going to have the lag for the brake. I'll get a quick drink. And that looks fairly even, but Spectredawn has won the lag. Now he has the choice, obviously, to break off or put Mick in. He's going to brake. So he's got the right hand side in the cue ball. And decent enough break off. Now again, what Mick should be doing is having a look at the pack of reds to see if anything is set anywhere. Well, he can take on this red. He'd be hoping to get into the gap between the red and the black. And he's collided with the black. And he should be playing a safety here. I mean, this is what I would do, but again, in VP4, players tend to see a ball and want to pot it just for the sake of trying to keep breaks going. You know, there's only like 3 reds out in the open at the moment. Yeah, Higgins gave him a lesson in match play this morning. I think it was, what, 2 big centuries to start off. No, I didn't, because there's no audio on it, and that's crap. I clipped the video when I got home, and there's no sound, so any stream where there's no sound of the balls and stuff like that, it's boring to watch. So get the audio fixed. Right. Oh, Spectredawn's done the right thing there. That's exactly what you should be doing, burying him. Now there's a... Now, has he cut off the angle? I'm just looking to see whether he could get into the centre of the pack, and that'll do as far as that goes. And now this is where Spectredawn has to think. You see, in this position, you know, there's very little chance of getting back to bulk. And now we're going to get tip-tapping in amongst the reds. Let's try my other camera. And I've got it set better now at the business end of the table. And that's a red on into the side for Spectredawn. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Brainfill Out and everybody else that's watching. Now I think he's gone far enough for the brown. Now let's have a look at the angle he's got. Well, he could come around the corner behind the yellow and get onto that red that's above the pink as we look. That's what he's trying to do. He actually, he's done well to get there, because I think it was a bit straight. And the problem now is the angle he's got in the red is not great. He's going to try and brush through, off, maybe glancing off this red when he hits that one, and might go on the black. You've got to take a risk here doing that you're going to catch the red. You could bump the other red and still be in the black. Well, he's trying to come away from it to make sure he doesn't get bogged down, which is probably a good idea as well. And again, he should just nail him behind the green. That's the way to do it. And there's one way to get inside. You've got to take the measure of a player and try and get inside their head and see if this starts to annoy him. And as soon as you find out it starts to annoy him, what do? you keep bloody well doing it. That's what you do. So foul and miss has been called, but Spectredawn won't take that, because Mick would be pretty much guaranteed to hit something in his next goal. Now this is 2 straight in this red, so it is. Now that bump in the blues came in handy. Now again, he needs to roll through far enough. He wants to try and roll right through. He's taking the one in the cushion, but I was thinking he was going to just roll through to there and take that one up there for the black. You can still get on the black. Bit straight on this red as well though. Now again, the angle on the black's taking him slightly away from the red, but the little bump has left him now an awkward angle on the one behind the black, so he may well just cut. He can actually maybe cut this. I don't know whether he can drag it up the table. He might try and avoid the pink. And now, well, there's not a lot to go at by just rolling the blue in. Let's have a look down this side. Now he's got enough of an angle to get loads of topspin on this blue and get the cue ball running. Now if he gets it running hard enough, he might need to put a bit of left hand side on it to get it to run and spin off the rail and try and get down to the red below the black. Well, that'll do. He didn't get there, but again he's in a position where he's got the one above the pink, so that'll work. You've really got to get down here for this red for the black so that you can try and get a bump into the reds and get them open and keep their break going. That's why I would have tried to get down. I'd have been desperate to get down onto the red. Again, he's the wrong side of the blue. And the break ends in 21, but it's a healthy little lead to start with for Spectredawn, so there's immediate pressure on AussieMick to put something together here. Now he's going to open the reds, but he needs to be careful. And now he's got a problem. He's got the blue into the left side pocket. You can't see the black. He's got a tight yellow into the side. And that's well done. The Barker stub match, I think I can get that. What day is it again? I saw it. Well, Barker's should be the favourite on paper, but not after the performance I saw him play against LS3. He was absolutely hopeless. He was worse than me, so he was. I'm just having a quick look. Monday. Oh no, wait a minute. Tuesday at 1:20 PM. I can be there because I finish 9:45 in the morning on Tuesday, so I can cover that match. Or we can both do it, Slim. You can jump into the commentary box, or I'll jump in with you. One of the two, if you want. The main problem I've got is you know, when it's a race to 6 in the evening and it's not my day off, then it's very, very unlikely I'm going to do it, because it would then have the likelihood of finishing maybe too late, where I'd be wanting to get to my bed. Yeah, Stubble will blow himself out the water by being too aggressive. And doing the typical pool player's way of doing it. And trying to run everything. Well, AussieMick's contribution was only 11, which is not going to be any good for him. And if Spectredawn, well, if he would have liked to have been the other side of that black there, so that he could just drop down for the red behind the pink. This red here is awkward to get on, but I mean, he can get on it. He can try and, if he can just try and bump into the blue, he can get on that red. And that's good enough. That'll do it. So the lead is 43, and there was 43 left in the table there when that red went in. So AussieMick now needs a snooker or snookers. And you can stun this in and come back for the red into the same pocket. I'll tell the lies on the red, what am I talking about? Well, let's see if Spectredawn can clear the table. Now what he should do in this instance is actually pot the yellow and get it on its spot, and that makes it easier. But he's got reasonable position anyway. And while I'm doing this, I've got the second session of the match between Jack Lazowski and McGill, the Scottish guy, and he's already lost the first frame, Lazowski, so he's now 8-1 down. So, first frame goes to Spectredawn fairly comfortably, not put under any sort of pressure. And this is a thing I've talked about in the past about one-dimensional players. The one thing about snooker is you've got to conform to all dimensions. It's not about just potting balls, it's most definitely about preventing your opponent from potting them. I don't know whether you're talking about this tournament repetition or whether you're talking about the proper World Championships, but this tournament's going to have a few heavy defeats. You know, a few 6-0s, I would think. We already had one in the first one, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe a few more. Once again, up for a quick look at the bunch of reds, just to make sure there's nothing maybe set somewhere. Now, I don't know why, but AussieMick sent me a PM, but I'm not opening it. Oh, this might get ugly. It's bumped to yellow. That was almost good. Now, of course, with the black ball where it is, the black ball does pot, and it does go on its spot, and it's unlikely to say whether it would actually go if it did go on its spot. Just hang on a little second. Right, I've just read AussieMick's PM, and his question was, are you supposed to say good game after each frame? I said no. Now the target area, of course, is the yellow and green. That's the line you're trying to get the cue ball into. Now again, you have to use side in a way that will, direct the cue ball into that area. But where the cue ball is now, the path back to baulk from the right side has been more or less blocked off. If you try and take that red above the black, there's a fair chance you get a chunk of that black. And of course the left hand side is more or less covered by the pink. So Spectredawn's going to take the middle red there in the bunch. The only danger, of course, is what you're pushing towards a pocket. Now again, this red here that's in the open, there's no way I'd be taking that. I'd be coming off the left side of it. That's crazy. There's no way on earth I'd be taking that red, simply because you're not going to get on a colour. And you can't play this game on the basis that you're hoping for lucky rolls. That's not the way to win the game or to construct anything. You must play defensively in a situation like that. And this is why, when I used to play a lot at snooker, I played it like real life. I played the percentage shots a lot of the times. I would never have went for that red because it was pointless. A far better safety would have probably got you a lot more constructively at the end of the day. So now the yellow, green and brown are opened up. You're just trying to get it dead onto this baulk cushion if you can. Now again, there's a red on the left hand side. Spectredawn again would be crazy to go for it. He's maybe he's taking the second red, but that of course leaves that first red open. You see, I would have taken the first red nice and thin, and that way you're not leaving it open, especially if you actually go in off like he's just done. Now Mick can take the red, but what he wants to do is get back up the table off this red. So he can go forward and come back up for the yellow, probably just the yellow. He's got to be careful how he does this, because the brown isn't going, and if he goes too far he isn't going to have the yellow. I think he can just get it. Now this red, I would always check it up slightly. This cue ball, cutting the red with a bit of left hand side just to bring it back inside to this point here for the pink. You could play the more safer shot and try and get on a baulk colour, but you've got to obviously pot the red. Good afternoon to Mark. Never saw you there. If you well, there's a mess of reds on that top cushion. Round the corner and up for the pink, but he's left it a bit short again. Well, you take the pink for the sake of taking 6 points, but you know if you're going to try and put any more than 6 points together, you're going to be forced into taking the yellow. Well, it's got him on the red. Well, Mick is certainly playing within his rating level at the moment. We've got the green off its spot, blue off its spot, brown off its spot. This is generally how a lot of VP4 snooker frames end up. Everything ends up messy, and it's just a bits and pieces frame, this one. Unless you can get one or two more colours on the spots, but you're going to have to travel the cue ball. And then of course the other issue is the mess of reds. There's not really a lot doing. Everything's going to be awkward. So it's going to end up, of course, not forgetting we've got one down in the bulk cushion here as well, but it's going to end up with a few safeties now. Spectredawn would take a big risk there. Now the other problem, of course, is the pink spot and has blocked his safety route, and he's come down and gave AussieMick a free shot on this red, but Spectredawn may well be hedging his bets that Mick can't get this in. In fact, Mick wasn't even interested in it, but the safety's no good. And that's not only brought the blue into play, but set the red over the pocket. So Spectredawn wants to get a wee bit high on this blue if he can. And the reason I say that is that if he's high enough, he can pot the blue and get into the reds. He's gone a bit straight, but I think he can still try and. I mean, he might not want to do it. Well, I think he has to, because there's nothing goes. Yeah, he needed more angle on that blue. Had he finished higher on the blue, he could have potted it and get into this slot here and brought them into play. At least had a better attempt at it. That'll do. Again, there's a red in bulk, so that's safety zone of the bulk area has gone. And there's no way Mick should be playing anything that brings the cue ball down here into bulk. But that now gives Spectredawn a free shot here to get that red up the table. And possibly try and tuck the cue ball behind the brown here. Well, he was trying to make sure he didn't send that red into open play. But Mick has a chance to try and get this cue ball into a tight spot here in this bottom cushion. He's actually had too much top in the cue ball there that's actually killed it. And now gives Spectredawn another free go, but he's got to take evasive action here to avoid the reds this time if he wants to get on a colour. I don't know whether he can pot this, and he certainly can't run forward. He's going to run into them, and that's no good. He's got to get a good bit of screw, as we say in snooker, onto the cue ball just to make sure it affects the line of it, and he may well be on the pink or black. He's spending a fair time looking at this shot here. Well, he didn't want the kiss in the pink for a start. Now again, you know, he can take the pink for 6 points. It's not going to give him anything else. Now, what you should be doing then is just running off this red here and ducking for cover up in this area of the table to try and use that pink as a blocker. Well, it does use the pink because you get a nice little nudge on the yellow, but there is an edge of that red showing. Got to get it thin. That's too thick. That's a good billiard, but way too thick. Of course, in snooker, it's not like ball in hand and pool. You've got ball in hand within the D, which of course limits what you can aim at and what you can see and get to. Now that's how thin Mick had to hit that last shot. That's a lot better. That is excellent. And the way these reds are now, and the black bin there and the pink bin there, Mick's 37 behind. He could have a chance here to put something on the board. Now he could also give it back to Spectredawn and try and get a few points off this foul and miss. And of course Mick's hoping to be left something a bit easier to work with, and he's got it. So he's got the red. He can either drop it in for the pink into the side pocket, or just dink off the rail and make sure he doesn't go too high and block the black. Now this is where he has to get his concentration going, and he needs to watch where the black's going. It's going in its spot, and that blocks that red into this pocket, and I don't think he paid any attention to that, I'm afraid, because if he had done, he would have made sure he wasn't playing for that red. And now he's in nothing other than a dodgy cut along the cushion. And that's gone to the cushion too soon. So Spectredawn will have already assessed the situation and decided that he's not going to be put to the test here a great deal. Although Spectredawn, trying to spin the cue ball out for the pink, has forgotten about the red. That right hand side in the cue ball has just tweaked it, and he's hung the red in the pocket. So a free go here for Mick, and he can't get it in the hole either, so now it's gone from bad to worse. And I would suggest that this should be the end of this frame. Oh dear. I think Spectredawn has actually left the red on, so again, another chance to try and eat into this deficit for Mick. I mean, these three reds are in the open. Okay, this one's the one that's the most awkward, but there are points there to be had. Well, you can't see that one. He's going to have to. Well, he could have a go at the double, but it won't work out too well. If he misses it, he'll probably leave it on. He's trying to duck behind the black, and I think he might have got away with this. He has done. That red is, well, that red might thin cut into the middle. You'd have to basically blast past that red. Spectredawn's not interested in anything like that. Just trying to keep distance. Looking for cover down behind the pink or black. And I think he's going to get... Well, he hasn't quite. So Mick's only, what, 18 points behind, and this frame could go either way, but he's got to start putting balls into holes here. And I think now there might be enough of that red showing. Oh, there isn't, is there? I think there is. Yeah, we should be taking this on into the side. And he may well have the pink into the middle pocket. Cue ball's heading the wrong direction for the red. But if you go forward with this with the left hand side and hope you don't hit the yellow down in the ball, well, he's trying to just hold it. That'll do. You could have went forward and try and get in behind it better, but this will do. But they're still testy at those angles if you're not used to this table. So Mick is now 25 behind. Now the brown's the one to take to get back out for the yellow into the same pocket. Now that needs to bounce. He's going to be playing this green ball at a bit more distance. Well, he's again struggling to get the yellow in the pocket, and this frame is now over, or at least it should be, because Spectredawn has a good chance of getting onto that green. This is just a gentle little dink and let that green take all of the pocket. You don't need to be too aggressive. Just drop behind the brown, that's the way to do it. Just a nice soft touch. And that seals the frame. So 2-0 to Spectredawn. And it's going pretty much the way that one or two of you have predicted, not even having seen AussieMick. Well, Spectredawn could call the frame right now. Well, at least it used to come up with a message offering that. I don't know whether it does. So a good bit of left hand side in the cue ball. Catch that last red thin enough, because you don't want to bring it back up the table past the blue. And if you do, you've got to hope you get some cover behind the yellow. And Spectredawn hasn't. And of course the other thing with the break off is in VP4 very often a red ties up the black. Well, it's certainly tied up for one side. Spectredawn misses a red into the middle and gets away with it. Unless there's something in the pack of reds, which there isn't. Well, he can push this red around the angles and follow through. Well, you've got to look at the line that the red's coming off the cushion for a start before you play that shot. Now, you have to do that because you want to know that you're pushing it so that you're not running it into a baulk colour. I don't know whether he paid any attention to that at all, but he's actually got away with it in terms of not leaving it on. But or was it Mick there that did that? It was Mick. But Spectredawn's now nailed him behind the brown. Now if you nail them tight enough, you're cutting off angles that are available, and that is pretty tight. Now this could end up yielding Spectredawn a few points here, because there's only two reds that are actually potable. Well, three if you include the one next to the pink, and he'll probably get another go at that. And sooner or later Spectredawn will get the right line. I think he'll settle for that. It's a touching ball though. Having said that, if you look at the top left of the HUD, it's touching the red, so that gives Mick, Spectredawn, sorry, a free chance to get in behind the green, and he's just hit it too thin off the green, and it's given Mick a free go here, and the black is available. He wants to get up here in the black so he can get that red out the way though, and that'll do, I think. But the potting isn't so reliable though. You need to dig into the cue ball a bit here to try and punch that red away from the spot, or away from where the black is, and I think he's just glad to get the 8 points. But you know, better players would have played that black so that they could nudge the red out the way. And again he's hung the red. And Spectredawn gets a nice little nudge on the red, plays a little combo with the red, and now with the angle that he's got to give this a thump, get the amp on and get into those reds. He hasn't. That's the first thing he should have done there, is give them a good smack and get them open. He had a decent enough angle to do that there. And now he's nailed himself to the cushion, so he'll just roll the black in, get over beyond the pink, leave the red into the middle, and back for the black. That should be the plan here. It's fairly straightforward enough, but he needs to get good in the black. Now he might not get good in the black. Pink doesn't go, but he has to get either high in the black so that he can go to the cushion and come into them, or lower in the black, a bit squarer on it, so he can stun into them. And he's gone too high. Well, once again, that green and yellow is beckoning me, because I'd be playing that brown and ducking in behind the yellow and green, because all he was getting out of that was the extra 7 points. But I think there was a chance to get more had he just played safe off the brown and ducked in behind the yellow and green there. That would have been my play. And this is why your choice of shots are essential when it gets to matches where you're playing with guys who have got a bit more going on upstairs for this game, because that's what you need. This needs to run. It hasn't got the legs. But Spectredawn, I think, will just... he'll be assuming he'll be back at the table soon enough. And no sooner have I said that than it's right now, but he might have nothing to go at. Now that pink, I think, might be obscuring too much of that red to try and cut it in. Here we go again. Mick's got a red. He needs to come in behind a bunch of reds and back out into the table. Well, he just hit it plain ball. He took a risk there. He's actually missed the pack. Could have done with running higher into the table. That way he could have probably got the black and got it on its spot. Well, this is all about just judging the pace, and that's just a wee bit too heavy. Just needs to slow up. Now if he just gets into the cue ball and comes off this blue, he's got the red down by the black spot or near enough at the one that's near it. If he comes through and gets the pace right, well, if he fell short, he could have got the one that's closer to the pack. I think he's ended up with a slight angle in this red. Yeah, trying to force the cue ball there, trying to squeeze an angle out of an angle he didn't have. So it's all really just bits and pieces for AussieMick. But Spectredawn's given him a free go to get in behind this yellow and green. That's what he should be doing. Now, see this shot that he's playing here? I would play this with a bit of side to get the rail and just push it out and get the cue ball spinning in that way. See, that shot, let's go to the other end. Hang on a minute to get my donut. If I can find it, hang on, wrong button. Now, when you're playing that shot that he had there, get my line, say like off that red there, I would play off that red there with a bit of right hand side. So when it hits the rail, it gets pushed out and takes a better line in behind that yellow and green. That was the shot he should have played. He didn't have any side on it, I don't think. And it's those little subtleties that you're looking for to manoeuvre that cue ball into the most awkward spot when you're playing that sort of safety. You have to use the side on the cue ball, or English as you pool players will call it. You've got to assist the cue ball when you're playing safety shots in snooker. Well, again, these reds are sitting pretty nice here. A straightforward enough red. Again, it's finished sort of in no man's land. He's got a straightforward enough blue to come to stun it in and come across. I think. What's the angle like? Let's have a look. He's taking the black instead. And he's got that one into the side. I don't think there's a great deal of planning going on here. See, wrong side of the pink now. So the shot to play is the blue. That's the shot you play every day of the week, because you're just drawn back off the blue into this area here, and you've got a choice of 3 reds. That's the shot you have to play. And he hasn't got the line, and he didn't really get into the cue ball either. You've got to get a bit of dig in to screw back off the blue and get yourself into this spot here to give you those 3 reds. So the brain has to be ticking over when you're playing, more so in this game than a lot of pool games. And again, I've got nothing against what Spectredawn's done there. He's just doing things to annoy AussieMick and to apply the pressure on him to get things safe. Spectredawn's just looking to feast off what's left for him here. And he's got the red into the middle pocket, which if he might brush off that other red, but he would have a chance of getting on the blue or the pink into the middle pocket here. Well, he hasn't picked a line. So Spectredawn obviously doesn't get the table time in this game, but if he did, he'd be pretty damn good at it, I'm sure. Because these potting angles are deceiving if you're not familiar with the table. Now there's a red down in bulk, and you can see the yellow. And the blue's gone in, and now he's going to be fully committed here. Again, I would play this with a bit of left-hand side to make sure that I'm not going to bump anything. And I think he hit it plain ball and was okay anyway, but I would always just give a little feather just to make sure it is coming out the right way. So pot the yellow onto the cushion, back out for the red into the same pocket. Well, he's finished the short side. I don't think I'd have been doing that, Mick. You've got to play the most open shot, make your red easier. He's potting into a blind pocket, but he's got it. Now, he's got himself into the lead here. Now, this blue is straight, and he can use the black ball as a stopper. You've got to get yourself back up this end of the table. When he's trying to snooker him, he had the line to do it. That's good enough, but is it good enough that he's covered the edge of that red? No, he hasn't. See, he now could be in trouble himself here. Now, Spectredawn's playing it with a bit of right side. Oh, it's just going to spin out. It was almost good there. Almost good. This needs to be paper thin, because it's so easy to bump these reds into play if you get them too thick, and that's what Mick has done. And so Spectredawn is 20 behind, so he's got a wee bit of work to do. And this is where Spectredawn's whitewash is under a little bit of threat, because he knows that if he pots this red, black, he's then got to get himself on this yellow and deal with the green and brown, which you've got to get on the yellow in such a way that it's easy to drop onto the green, and then the brown should inevitably follow. Now, well, this is fine just to screw back off the blue. Well, he stunned it a bit. Now he has to avoid the brown. I think he's got to make sure he's avoiding the brown. And that will do. That's perfect as far as rolling the green in and taking the brown. And now he's got himself into the lead. Now this is a pressure shot because he's a point in front. And he's now left Mick with a chance here, albeit a very thin cut in the brown. But it's gone in. Well, there is a safety on, and the safety is to send that blue to the cushion. He's gone all out for the pot, and that was well done. And this is how you can lose frames, and how somebody like Mick can take that opportunity there, because Spectredawn had to make sure he didn't miss. But Mick has blew it on the pink. So Spectredawn needs pink and black to keep his clean sheet. Good afternoon to Cold as Pillow. Well, you get a bit of a doing in that match with Matt. We're talking about a guy that beat me 10-1 about 20 years ago in Virtual Pool 3. My excuse that day was I had a dodgy mouse, which I did have. But I hung into the end. I hung into the end. He beat me 10-1 in the first round. Or was it the second round? No, it would have been the first round, because it was a race to 10 when I set it back in the day. And Matt's a long-term virtual pool player, and he's pretty solid at snooker. And Spectredawn now, well, there's no way he should be missing this. No, I'll tell you something, he shouldn't put you off snooker, but what you should do is mix it with players around the similar level to you. And there are 2 or 3 players who regularly play snooker in VP4 who are not of the same level of Matt. So 3-0 to Spectredawn. That was as good a chance as anything that AussieMick was going to pinch that frame there, but you know, he did the hard work getting that blue. The pink was the easiest of the shots compared, you know, in comparison with the actual blue. And that was his downfall at the end of that frame. Keeping an eye on my fellow Scott in his match in the Real World Championships. He's now got himself 9-1 in front, and he's just clearing the pink and black. In fact, he'll just pot the pink to give him a 10-1 lead. So this match against Jack Lazowski should all be over in 2 sessions, with a session to spare, the way he's going. Anthony McGill. Always good to see a Scot in the World Championships, and he's got good pedigree in this tournament. He's not to be messed with. So we're into frame number 4. Spectredawn taking the opportunity to get into these reds and try and bring something into play, which he has done. And a chance for his highest break of the match here. Not that there's really been one of any mention, but a good chance here. And you can always tell what the audience think of the match that we're currently watching, because I can tell you straight away that, including myself, we're down to we're down to 3 on YouTube watching this. Goodness knows how many it's down to in Twitch. But people make their minds up and say, well, I don't want to watch the rest of this bloodbath. But in all honesty, Spectredawn would have to start doing stupid things, far too many of them, to end up losing this match. But I did say he has a chance to have his highest break in the match, and he might well have did his best to try and make sure he wasn't getting that. Well, he's got the top red, which he can get back up the table for a blue or the baulk colour. It's going to have to be the brown. Now from this brown, it's a bit straight, and let's have a look. If he comes back off the brown, there's not really a great to play for, a great choice of reds to play for in his misty yellow anyway. So the break ends in 20. Well, the thing about John Higgins is that I'm trying to remember what one it was against. Who was it he was in front? Was he in front against Selby? Was it Selby was playing? And John sort of lost. He lost his momentum. He was looking really tired in that match. So there's still 2 sessions to go. And you know, John would have to start playing really bad as well if he was going to end up giving away an 8-frame lead. But you know, we've seen how well John Higgins can play. We've seen him drill Ronnie O'Sullivan. I can't remember what tournament it was. But he blew Ronnie O'Sullivan away in the final, and so he's capable of doing that to anybody, as all the top players are. Well, Jack Jones is, you know, this is the thing about these players that come through. You know, that young Chinese boy, he's done well so far, but the thing is, they've got to sustain that. They know that, of course, but the other thing is Jack Jones and the Chinese boy, I keep forgetting his name, is it Sai something? You know, they've already come through those 2 or 3 qualifying matches, and they were tough. But I think everybody's aware of them now, that every single player is a threat. There's very few numpties that get into the World Championships. Yeah, Sa Jun or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Sai Jun Wei. John, I know John Virgo has trouble saying his name. Well, Spectredawn is definitely on his highest break of the match now. He's on 32, and the red's all at his mercy, and he could be on for the highest break of the tournament, which I can't. Somebody go and look for us, please. I think it's 59 by Matt. Something like that. Somebody check the stats, please. Well, down for the blue or yellow would do. Now, that looks reasonable enough. He's a bit hampered, but he's fine because he can just roll this in, and if he rolls through too far, he's got the red into the other one. Well, he stunned it back to hold it. That's even better. I didn't think he'd get enough of the cue ball to do that, but that's fine. And you've got to watch the roll through, because this cue ball, I said it last night or the other match, you've got to watch how far this cue ball will roll through when you put the top on. It can get away from you sometimes. So, a half century break and counting. It's on 54. Now, this red here is the one you take to go on the black, because the cue ball's going to come over this side. So this is all just about letting the red go in and the cue ball do its thing, and that's perfect. Now, likewise with this, nothing you have to do with the cue ball other than pot the black and go forward and come off the cushion and out far enough for this other red, or the last red. He hasn't gone far enough. He needed to get right out here. Even if it was further away, it'd still be better. He'd have a better angle on the red. What Newcastle you're talking about? Who's the Spuds, by the way? I don't know who they are. Well, that's a good shot. So the break goes to 63, which I'm pretty certain is the highest of the tournament now. Oh dear, commentator's curse. So that seals the fourth frame off Spurs. Oh dear. I don't know how long the Spurs manager's been there, but a 6-1 drubbing is a sackable offence in the English Premiership. Well, AussieMick's looking for something as a consolation here. Now, in fact, nobody bothered looking at the stats for me, so I'll go and look myself. I stand corrected. Matt has got the highest break of 66. Spectredawn had a chance to get it there, but he failed. But there's the big difference. Points per turn for Matt was 10 in that match. Of course, the stats for this match won't show until it's over. And looking at the schedule, we've got one pocket slim against Rossi, I think that's the name. So that's Monday at 120 or 130. Then we've got Stubb against Barkers on Wednesday at 8:30 PM. So I'll be able to get that, because that's my day off. Then you've got Mr. Sharkey Semi-Pro next Saturday, which is at 8 PM, which I won't be able to get because it's starting too late. It might not last that long, but it's starting too late for me. Oh, the Brighton Hove Albion match against Manchester United's on in BBC Two. Let's have a quick look at that, see what's happening. I don't know whether it's started yet or not. Doesn't look as if it has. No, just nobody. Nobody said that they were getting the same alarm as I was getting. I presume you all were on your phones. I presume Cobra and Mark got it, and anybody else that's in the UK at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Did you know you were getting that, Mark? Because the only way I found that out was in Steve Wright's Sunday Love Songs this morning. That's the only way I knew. I never saw anything about it on the news or anything like that, but mind you, when I got up this morning to go to work, I had the news on, never heard anything about it. Mind you, I have to say I never watched an awful lot of the news. I was watching the snooker that I'd missed last night when I went to bed. I was watching it in the replay this morning. Well, Spectredawn has loads of reds to choose from here to take this fifth frame away from AussieMick. Black ball is certainly tied up in one pocket, but it will go into the other one, and it won't spot. So this could end up, this could end up with this VP4 bug. If somebody was to get down here and pot that black without moving that red, because the black can't go in its spot, it would normally go in the high spot available. Now at the moment there's no spots available, and so the black would be spotted as close to the red, close to its spot as possible, in a direct line between its spot and the top cushion, as we call it. However, in VP4 there's a bug where it sometimes does that. It puts the ball closest to the red, but it ends up touching it, and the game calls it a touching ball, which you can't have. And again, I've pointed that out before 100 times to Steve, and it's never been fixed. But we might well see it in this tournament. And as I say, there's a possibility that that could have happened. Well, Spectredawn should be taking the red that's out to the right there, not the one that's closest to the black or near the black, because you can just come down, you can stun down, you can draw a stun down off this down for the blue. I don't know whether he can go to the cushion and come out onto the pink. Well, that's what he's trying to do, and he's done it. Well, same again, he can drop this in dead weight and still hold for that pink, I think. Well, he's trying to stun down either for the blue or that pink. I'm not quite sure what it was, but the pink is fine where it is. Break goes to 34. Well, that little bump in the reds hasn't really opened them up. The two that were there, they're still stuck together. Now he can go forward and come around the angles and get up the table and give him a choice of either the blue, which is the wrong side of, or the yellow to come back out into the table behind the green and brown and get onto either of those two reds. Well, he's taking the pink, and again, I wouldn't have taken the pink. I would have taken one of the bulk colours, the yellow, to get me out into the table for that red there. So that red that's next to the black doesn't go anywhere. Those two reds are tied up next to the pocket, so there's not going to be a lot of points here for Mick, and he's still 33 points behind. So this match started an hour and a quarter ago. It's certainly nowhere near as quick as Matt's match with Coldest Pillow, because by now that match was over. I think it was over by about an hour and a quarter, or at least it felt like that. I got an email, I read it on my phone. In fact, let me have a check my phone. Now, bearing in mind, what you've got to bear in mind is the size of my channel. I've got about 600 odd, just over 600 subscribers. So I don't have 1,000 subscribers. And when you do have 1,000 subscribers, then you can make money on your videos. And I got an email this morning, or at least I checked my emails. I'll check that one on my phone, and I'll read this out to you if I can find it. Hang on a minute. Well, I'll read the one that I've got from B&Q. It says, "You've been chosen to receive a brand new 170-piece Stanley tool set. Check now." So I'm binning that one. Here's that other one I was reading earlier on the day. Where's it gone to? Did I delete it? Maybe I deleted it. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. Let me read this out to you. And it's from somebody called Lisa Maya. And it's emailed to my Hotmail email, which you're always suspicious about. And it says, "Hello my fellow content producers. Trust you're having a wonderful day today. We at NordVPN Core are impressed by the quality of content on your YouTube channel, and we believe that a joint venture between our companies would be mutually advantageous for both parties. As an influential software company in the industry, we are always looking for novel ways to engage with our target audience. Your YouTube channel has caught our attention due to the original content you produce. We are eager to now this is where you start getting worried, because then the English goes a bit funny. We are eager to collaborating with you with promote NordVPN products to your viewers. We have a collection of data available to you which contains comprehensive information about our products and services. You can access this compilation by using the password NordVPN, and then there's a web link which I haven't clicked obviously. If you're interested, we would be delighted to discuss this opportunity further with you. It would be great to learn your feedback, and we can't wait to hear back from you. Warm regards, Savannah, NordVPN Systems. And there are guys on YouTube, it has to be said, who do have sponsorship with NordVPN. I've watched plenty of guys who upload videos, and they'll have a mention for their sponsor, which is NordVPN. But those guys have got channels that have got like 15,000 subscribers, far more than what I'm ever going to have, and so therefore they get more views than I'll ever get. So that's why I'm thinking, well, why would NordVPN have any interest in a channel that has like maybe a dozen viewers on at the moment watching this, and only 600 subscribers? Yeah, well, I'm not. I can't do that on my phone. That's why I didn't want to tab out to go to my proper email on the PC. Yes, I can check the source from it. I've done that plenty of times and blocked them in the past. Probably from Bombay. I wouldn't be surprised. Watch the cue ball. But this is AussieMick's best run of the match so far, I think. It's 22. He's still 2 points behind. And he needs to miss the blue. And he has to make sure he's covered the brown. And he hasn't, I don't think. Because I think Spectredawn can get all of this brown. Yeah, he can get all of it and more. So that was a poor attempt at a snooker there by Mick. And well, provided this blue goes in, it's going to be 5-0. Well, the one thing I can say is, and I can say this with reasonable confidence, Spectredawn's not going to win this tournament. Simply because he's too new to the game. And he's not scoring often enough and regular enough and heavily enough. And he's going to be put to the test a lot tougher than what he has been today. Well, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. The cross double from Mick on the pink. Now, can he hold his nerve? Can he hold his nerve together on this black ball? No, Matt hasn't won it. I don't think, and he hasn't. And that was Aussie's best chance there of winning a frame off him. Mal, I thought that said Matt. No, Mal, I don't think has won the snooker one. I mean, Napnicker's got the what do you call it? He's made a spreadsheet with all the winners as far back as we can remember for all the big tournaments in VP3 and 4. Yeah, AussieMick should be kicking himself there. The bonus with that pink getting in left him a reasonable shot in the black, and he couldn't get it put away. Well, the one thing's for certain that if Mal does play in this tournament is the match will go fairly quickly as well, because he likes to get on with it. He doesn't hang around. So right at the moment it's looking like the first two matches that I've streamed in the tournament have ended up in whitewashes. I maybe jumped the gun too soon, and I think I've cursed Spectredawn saying that straight away there. Yeah, the Hall of Fame thing, yeah. The thing that Steve's still never going to do. Well, an easy red. Trying to make sure he could see the blue. But nothing to follow after it. I mean, he's got the wrong angle on the blue for a start. And now it's just the thin edge and duck for cover of this. Well, in fact, the blue going in the spot has caused him problems. You're going to have to go two rails into the back end of the pack, or, well, that wasn't the way. I think if we had... Well, let's see if this is going to be respotted here by Mick. Right, he's got a great line. The line to take is not there. He's trying to go into the pack that way. If he goes that way, you know, you're going in the back that way. So he's taken completely the wrong line and he's missed it twice. He's going to get a third go at it, and sooner or later he'll listen to me and do what I said. Well, he's got it. Took him 3 goes and he's left nothing on. But I would have gone the 2 cushions route into the back. That's an easy enough shot to play. And of course Mick catches the middle knuckle. We expected on a shot. Well, talking about Australians, I see that Dame Edna Everage has died at the age of, I think, 89, or was it 86? It might have been 86. Barry Humphries, who played, that was his main character. The other one was Sir Les Patterson. I preferred Sir Les. Just come back too far. Again, just make sure you miss the blue. Now, if you've got the right spin on that, you see, I would have come off the edge of that red there with a bit of right hand side, just so that when I hit the cushion, I'm coming in this direction to try and just drop in behind the brown. The little subtleties like that are the type of things you just need to be doing to tweak that cue ball into the spot. It's all very well getting it into bulk, but if you've got the line, then you've got to use that side on the cue ball to actually just get it to get a little bump and a spin in behind the line there. And that's no good. So Mick has a chance to get some points on the board, or some more points on the board, that is. He's got an easy enough red, just a little bit of follow through and out to get comfortable on this black, and that's not comfortable. He needed to get himself further into the table. That's why. So there's an easy 8 points if you can roll a red in. Favourite biscuit? Anything with chocolate on it. Well, one of my favourites, I mean, it's not really a biscuit because they call it a Jaffa cake, but that I well and truly love, but I stopped buying them because when I buy, when I buy a box of them, I have a cup of tea and just proceed to eat the lot. I can't just have 3 at one time. So I stopped buying them because I just picked myself out on them. But you can't beat a digestive. Tesco do digestive biscuits with chocolate chips in them. I buy them occasionally. And what's that other one? I like my shortbread. I don't know whether you'd call that biscuits either. But I do like a bit of shortbread. I've got 2 packs of it downstairs. Oh no, jammy Dodgers, no. I don't like jam like that in that sort of formation in a biscuit. I don't like strawberries either. So I don't like anything that's got strawberry in it or any sort of strawberry flavour. I like those the club biscuits. Have brought out what do you call them? Salted caramel club biscuits. I like them. For the life of me, I can't think of the name of the biscuits that come in the blue packet, not Blue Ribans. I'm talking about, they're a softer wafer than the Blue Ribans. I like them. I've actually got about 3 or 4 packs of them downstairs. But I can't remember the bloody name of them. But they're a soft wafer biscuit, and you get about half a dozen in a pack. Yeah, I used to get Penguins years ago. It's been years since I've had them. And Spectredawn just ran too far through there. He should have ran through and come off the cushion. That way you've got a surefire way of better judging, get yourself a half decent shot in this black. Making his life more difficult, but he's got it in. The problem, of course, is you're running away from the reds. In fact, tell a lie, he hasn't got it in. I've just realised I was busy reading the chat there and assumed that the black had gone in. It's hanging over the bag. And this is where you end up using the black ball as the safety area of the table, and you start punching reds over there and blocking the black. Somebody must remember what those biscuits are called. In the blue packet, and they're wafer biscuits, and why can't I remember what they're called? I've got about 4 packs of them downstairs. No, it's not the Blue Ribans, that's what we're saying. It's not them, it's the you know how a Blue Riban packet's a long packet? This is a square packet, and there's like half a dozen. They look like large Kit Kats when you take them out. They're in individual wrapping, but they're not Kit Kats and they're not Blue Ribans. They're a much softer wafer than that. What the hell are they called? Oh, I don't want to have to get out of my chair and go downstairs and go and read them. Timeouts, that's the ones, Cobra. I knew somebody would remember. I love them. I have them 2 at a time with a cup of coffee. I don't ever have one. I always have 2. That's why I've got 3 or 4 packs downstairs. They're one of my favourites. I like them. Yeah, I like them because they're very often still on offer at £1, but they're not. You know, they get them down like a yo-yo, the prices. But I get them whenever I see them at £1. I get 2 packs of them. So that's why I've got a reserve. And in actual fact, once I've had my dinner, which won't be too soon, I have to say, because my stomach's rumbling. Once I have my dinner and I have a cup of coffee, I'm going to have 2 of them. That just put me right in the mood. Because this match is over. I knew somebody would know what I was talking about. You know, they're not. It's not the same length of packet as a Blu-ray band, but it's in fact it's years since I've had a Blu-ray band. Well, the only target for Spectredawn here, bear in mind the red's out in the open. The only colour not in its spot really is the brown and the green are the colours. But he's got a chance to get the highest break here. 60-60 beat. And there's a, well, that's put the commentators cursing that then, hasn't it? It's amazing the talents I've got. There, Mark was 3-1 up in that match the other night, in that Tour de match. I came in and he lost it 5-3, I think. Right, so match over. AussieMick has conceded, or he's about to, I would think, unless he, you know, he should do the right thing and resign the frame. I don't know whether to allow him to do it though. I don't know whether it'll allow him to do it because they're still. Yes, he has. So he's done the right thing. So well done to Spectredawn, but Spectredawn's going to find trouble ahead of him in the tournament. So that now means that we have 2 results in, both of them 6-0. And if we look at the bracket, we'll get an idea of who Spectredawn is going to be playing. I can't even see the match. Oh, there he is. And, well, there's definitely going to be a step up one way or another because he's lined up to play either LS3 or Mooncake. And I don't think I've seen Mooncake playing snooker. I know LS3's got her highest break there the other day. It was 123 or 126. So she's in the mood to cause trouble for people. So if LS3 comes through that match, Spectredawn's definitely going to get a test. I'm not sure about Mooncake. So that's all that's there so far. Of course, we've got those matches in the schedule. They'll take care of themselves. But the next one I intend to do will be Slim's match on Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon, I'll be there for that. I'll be home in plenty of time, or I hope I will anyway. And then the next one after that will be the Wednesday night one with Stubb. And I'll have that. I won't have the one at the weekend. So that's it, folks. I'm off for my dinner. Then I'll get my cup of coffee and my 2 timeouts. And we'll see you again soon. So thanks all for your company, for staying with us. Good luck to Spectredawn. Good luck to AussieMick on the one loss side. He might end up bumping into somebody just as troublesome. So we'll see you again soon. And until then, I will bid you good afternoon, folks.